All right, all stars. So I thought I'd do a Q&A video with you guys about the floor tiles. Okay, I promised I would do a video. Here I am doing a video. Okay, so I want to go over the questions that I got about the floor tiles. You know, things like cost, square footage, application, time frames, things like that, all the nitty gritty. So without further ado, let's get right into it. First things first, how did we apply the tiles? So I got this question a lot over the past couple of weeks. How do we apply the tiles? So we had vinyl flooring. It's like the rolling, I think it's called laminate sheets. And you roll it out and you kind of apply it to the whole entire floor, and then you just cut the edges. That's the kind of tile we had before, and it was stuck on with adhesive. So it was very, very like basic, very gross, old school. It was yellow, you know, kind of funny looking. And you know, it also had like an old scent to it that we didn't really like that much. So we decided to apply the peel and stick tiles to the top of that, because that's a great application surface as long as everything's pretty much even. And with peel and stick, because you know they're not that harsh of a material, you can lay it on top and it adjusts for different leveling and things like that. So we were able to put them right on top of our existing floor, no problem. And we applied them in a diamond shape, which in hindsight is one of the hardest ways to apply them, and I'm going to tell you why. But we applied them in a diamond shape like this, going across the floor. And we did, our pattern we did was gray and then white, and then gray and then white. So the whole thing was next to each other. Everything was identical. We even made sure we turned the tiles in the correct direction based on what we were trying to do. Okay, so the next question that I got is, did we change the crown molding, or the molding, the floor molding, the baseboards? Did we change the baseboards out? No, we did not change the baseboards out. We took out one of the baseboard pieces because we were going to take out the entire baseboard in the entire room, but based on the age of the house, it was hard to remove it without getting a lot of damage to the walls. And we had no new baseboard to place, replace it and put it in the existing baseboard's place. So we decided to say, hey, we're gonna keep it the way it is. And this is just a temporary solution. So we just wanted to look better. We wanted to smell better. We wanted to feel better upstairs. So we're just gonna change it. When we made that decision, there was a lot of implications, and I'm going to go over that and what I would change, which is one of the other questions that I had. But essentially, we did not change the molding. We did not remove the molding. We did not do anything with the molding. Okay, next question. How long did it take? So, man, the project took me and my husband 3 days total for application, because we were doing it in between working and in between taking care of the kids and every other responsibility that we had. Because I still was on 75 hard back then, so I still had to work out twice a day. I still had to eat healthy. So we did the application in between all of that. It took us about, I would say 6 to 8 hours each day over the 3 days to complete it. And that was with cutting it, that was with measuring, that was with using a pencil to draw out the sketches of where to cut. We had a laser, we had all of these things. So it was just a long project. And it was the first DIY project we've ever done on floors. I've never changed a floor in my life before we did this project. So it took us a while. Next question is, did we measure? So that's a great segue. That's a great next question for the segue from the previous question. So, did we measure? We measured the actual cuts only. So the existing floor that we had, the laminate, already had lines that coincided with the direction that we wanted to go, and they were already pre-measured. We put down a laser leveler to check the existing flooring to see if it was in the right positioning based on the size of the room, and it was. So we used that as our guideline to lay the tiles. So that helped us when it came to measurements, because we didn't have to do that much. What we did have to do is in the corners of the room, on the entire wall in the entire bathroom, every single side of each wall, we had to measure when we went to go and cut the diamond pattern out. So if something hit the wall but the diamond pattern is cut off, let's say you have a piece like this and there's another piece underneath it like this, we had to measure and cut that side. Now, why that was so difficult is because you can there's many different ways to cut tiles, and we're so inexperienced in the matter that we did not get any materials to help us out with that. There's tile scoring machines, there's things that we could have used. We used a pair of utility scissors. I know that sounds crazy, but that's all we had. So we used utility scissors. They cut through the actual tiles. So we were surprised at that. But after a couple of days, what I didn't take into account is that this whole part of my hand was swollen. It was wrecked. I had to start wearing a glove, like a workout glove, to give me some support. Like, I was trying everything in my power, and for some reason, something didn't tell me, why don't we just stop and go to a Home Depot and maybe get something that could help us cut it? Maybe. That probably would have been smart, but we did not do that. So that is what we cut it with. Now, and we did measure. So we did measure when we cut it. There are some techniques to measure that came in handy. I looked up some YouTube videos that came in handy. Maybe I'll show you guys that one time, because we do have to do this same process over on our floors in our living room. So we have wood floors now, and I want to change them to laminate vinyl plank. So that's going to be our second flooring project. Next question, how do we calculate the tiles? So the tiles are 10 by 10 inches, or is it 12 by 12? I don't know, 10 by 10 or 12 by 12 inches. So we calculated it by dividing the square footage of the room by the square footage of the tile. And then it told us how many times it went into the other number, and then we were able to use that number as how many packs we needed to buy. Because each pack comes with 10. So let's say, for instance, each tile is 12 by 12. Each pack comes with 10, so then that is 10 times 12 by 12, basically. That square footage amount, then we would have to multiply that, or we would have to divide that by the total room square footage, and then use that as a calculation. So essentially, let's say you have a 400 square foot room, right? And you have 12 by 12 of tiles as far as feet are concerned. 12 by 12 in tiles and feet is 144, because it's 12 times 12. So that equals 144, and then you would divide that into the 400 square feet that you have. So then that means that you would need to buy approximately, let's say 3, 4. So you have to buy approximately 2.5 packs, which round that up to 3. So that's kind of how we did the calculations. I don't know the exact numbers for our floors, but that's just kind of give you an understanding of how we did that. And we ended up having to buy 10 packs, and they were they came with the 10 tiles in there that were 12 by 12. So that's how we did that. The next question I have, and I'm gonna come back to the tiles because I know you guys want to know the biggest question of all, which is how much did everything cost? But we're gonna go to this question first. What would I do different? There's multiple things I would do different. For one, I would buy an extra pack. So with our floors, we measured it out to a T. And because we were new at this, we messed up on like 4 or 5 of them. And those 4 or 5 happened to be the 4 or 5 we need for the end. So when we got to the end, inside of our closet, there's actually 2 black pieces next to each other, even though the pattern goes black, white, black, or gray, white, gray, because it's not black, it's actually gray. But the pattern goes gray, white, gray. And in the closet, we had to do gray, gray, gray because we ran out of tile because we broke like 3 or 4 of them trying to actually go through the process and learn as we go. So maybe that's not the case. Maybe you're an expert, but I still recommend getting an extra pack because what if something happens to the floor and it gets scuffed up and the design itself gets messed up or somebody runs across it and damages the floor? Then you have no tile left in the closet somewhere that you can use to replace that piece. So then what if Amazon goes out of stock and they don't sell it no more? Then what? Then you're all messed up. So that was one of those things where I'm like, that was just stupid. I should have just ordered 1 more pack just to be on the safe side. So we can do the install seamlessly and then we can have like 5 or 6 pieces left if there's ever damage to the floor or if there's ever anything that goes on. Also, I would get knee pads because my knees were killing me. I mean, you have to spend the entire time on your knees cutting and applying the pieces. I would get some kind of hand support. I would get a machine that actually cuts the pieces for me because you can score them with a utility knife and snap them, but it's actually harder than it looks because you're trying to get a perfect cut, and let's say you start scoring and it goes off in a weird direction, then it's like, okay, now this whole piece is out because I messed up. And then one of the last things I would have done is I would have put up a new molding. I would have taken off the baseboards and put up something new. And the reason why is because it looks better, it smells better, it's applied cleaner. You can put the tiles down and then apply the baseboard on top so you can't see the imperfections or anything like that. And it allows you to actually have a cleaner look. Now with ours, to rectify that, for now, we decided to put caulking in the lining of the baseboard, but I essentially want to change the whole baseboard. I want to make it thicker so that it covers all the imperfections, and I want to allow for space because as the floors continue to heal over time, I won't say the word heal, I'll say as they continue to basically loosen up over time because of the heat and things like that, then they'll expand. And when they expand, then you'll have too little of a space next to the edges of the baseboards. So those are things to take into account. You always want to leave a tiny bit of space in between the flooring and whatever wall it's going to go towards. So once it does expand and everything loosens up, then you're not having issues where the floor tries to buckle or things like that. Now we weren't worried about that because we knew, okay, we're going to take up the baseboards. We don't like these. So we know that if anything happened where the floor tried to buckle on us or anything like that, like we could immediately go to Home Depot and get the baseboards and do what we're supposed to do. So I say all that to say, let's go to the final question, which is how much did it cost? So for our entire bathroom, our main bathroom, it cost us $200. Yes, only $200 in blood, sweat, and tears to change out the floor. So we got that entire look for $200. Now before this, we had a quote from a contractor to change our floors to another laminate vinyl that rolled onto the floor, and we picked some colors and things like that, and he was gonna charge us $900 all inclusive, which is not actually a bad price when you think about the labor that was put in, because it took us a long time. So it made me realize that labor is very intensive if you don't know what you're doing. So just that expertise in that time frame, I would have definitely paid the person, and it would have been worth it. However, if you're on a budget and you can't quite afford that look, but you want to make those changes, I would definitely recommend it to anybody that's looking for a floor change. The tiles were on Amazon, and they're called peel and stick marble looking tiles. Well, they're like peel and stick marble tiles. And you should be able to look them up, and then I'm going to include a link to the actual tiles as well in the description, but you should be able to look them up, and they'll allow you to see different versions. I got the gray and white ones, and they had black. They also had gray and gray. They had white and white. They had different looks, but I feel like the checkered look that I went with looks very modern. It looks it looks traditional as well in some instances, like farmhouse traditional type as well. Like you can play it up different ways, but the way that I played it up, I think it looks modern because the tile is down, and then I have the green vanity, and then I have modern fixtures on the vanity, and then we're changing the sinks to match the black on the fixtures that are on the vanity. So it's all going to come together and have a modern aesthetic, with like a hint of traditional, which is more our style. So, and it goes more with the house, because if it was up to us, we would just be all modern, but the outside of our house is not modern. So we have to be aware of the changes that we're making to make sure that they blend with the way that the house looks. So all in all, I would definitely recommend this to anyone that's trying to do their first DIY project. Try it out, see how you like it. It's a lot, but it's definitely worth it. It's satisfying to know, like, hey, I did this on my own. This is something that worked out. It's cost effective, and it looked gorgeous. I loved it. I love it still. So next stage is for this, change the molding and continue to change the fixtures in the bathroom. I'm gonna try out this Rust-Oleum tile paint, where it actually changes the tile from off-white to white, and see if that helps continue to modernize the bathroom. So that's my next step. I'm gonna take you guys on a journey with that. And yeah, thanks for stopping by. Leave a comment below, like and subscribe. That is free, but that keeps this channel going. And I will talk with you guys later.